I was originally taught a highly structural and geometric approach, with drawing being more about getting ready to paint something. I didn't realize how awesome drawing animals could be until I stumbled across force. Sketching animals from life has gone from this daunting task to one of my most cherished experiences. Not only that, but force also boosted my imagination and allowed me to design animal-based characters and even my own fictional creatures. And you can do it too. My mission is to give you the thrills and skills I have learned teaching you as a force animal instructor. But where to start? My drawings used to be stiff. That's because I was making a major mistake. I was starting with anatomy and primitive shapes, and it was getting me nowhere. Then I found the answer that changed everything. The force system showed me to draw the verb, not the noun. But what does that mean?
I'll show you.
The verb is the force. We want to draw an animal doing something. We do this through curved lines representing force. For example, if you look at this sea lion walking on the beach, let's get to drawing. I start with a curved line to represent the rear end compressing like a spring. The belly is hanging with all that weight, which is another curved line, and the head is lunging forward. As I'm figuring out the form, I notice that the left arm is bearing all the weight, and the right arm is lifting in preparation to take the sea lion's next step. Each force line represents a verb that I saw in the photo reference, and starting with the verb allows me to add these details without the drawing becoming stiff. Drawing the relationship between forces and connecting them is what gives your drawing rhythm, a feeling that it's moving. Pretty cool for just some lines on a page, right? Let's look at a bear and see how these same principles of action work. For this demo, let's focus on Mama Bear. I'm going to use the same ideas I explored in the drawing of the sea lion. Everything about this bear's movement is steadily forward. The raising of her hips, the sagging through the belly, the gazing forward through her head and neck. I really like that stretch in her back left leg, and that foot looks like it's about to just release and kick off, whereas the right leg is really posting into the ground. It's very much supporting her right now as she's walking. I really want to get that right arm and how it's just about to release. It's still a support, but right now it's just about to release. While the left arm is raised and preparing to land that next step forward. We're not even really 1 minute in, and there are already so many ideas in this sketch. From here, I can start adding form, shape, anatomy, and even the texture of fur. Let's move on to our second example. So this is a really interesting pose. This bear is doing a lot to resist gravity, which is constantly trying to pull it down. Notice that the hips are curling in. The legs are also hugging in tight. Almost everything about this pose is kind of clinging inward in a kind of desperation to stay attached to the tree. I'm digging into the feet because I feel like the feet are digging into the bark, so I'm trying to really get heavy with my line there to get a sense of tension in that spot. And now I'm moving up into the torso, which is leaning forward into the tree. Again, there's this sense of clinging throughout the entire pose. I notice the head is peering around to the right of the tree, as if the bear is kind of planning its next steps. It's doing some kind of calculations in its head. And then lastly, I hit the arms. I feel like the arms are really wrapping around that tree to hold on tight. And at the end of that arm is, of course, its paws, which are gripping or hooking. And notice how I'm playing around with different verbs here. I started with gripping, but immediately went to hooking afterwards because it sounded more, it resonated more with me about what I would think was happening in this pose. All these ideas, again, in such a short sketch, are accomplished using force line. Like the previous demos, I continued sketching for a few minutes, adding details like fur, anatomy in the face, and even some simple shadows. Let's do one more. So this is such a dramatic piece of reference. This is the kind of stuff I really love drawing from because there's so much drama here and there's so much action. And if you're trying to follow along and draw with me, don't panic. We can break this down into the same simple steps. So I'm going to start with the bear on the right. And to summarize, he's really just reeling from his opponent. He's moving away from his attacker because he's trying to get space and to get to safety. You can see how his arms are lifting up towards the center of his body, and there's this overall compression in his body. It's very small in its shape as he's preparing to retreat. His attacker is much more aggressive, almost the complete opposite in stance and shape. The overall body is flying forward with this big long stretch from the hips into the belly and the head being stretched out forward. And I really like this contrast that's happening between them because contrast is an important element in creating a powerful storytelling in your images. As I've gone through the torso, I'm getting into the legs, and I notice that the legs, no longer tightly coiled springs, are launching the bear off the ground. You can see how the legs are not symmetrical. The left leg is still in the process of launching, whereas the right leg is completely off the ground and now it's coming underneath the hips in order to help the bear kind of feel like this torpedo shape to make it more aerodynamic, to get more distance in the air, and to also help prep for that leg being ready to take a step and land when the bear starts getting pulled down by gravity. And now I'm working through the arms. I've gone from the shoulder into the arm, and I get this sense that the arms are raised and they're reaching towards the bear's frightened adversary. Again, very exciting ideas executed in a brief sketch. This was no more than 2 minutes. From here, I can even explore verbs in the smaller details. The caving through the retreating bear's shoulders, even the spiking fur on the charging bear's head. The possibilities are endless. You just need to start with the verb first. This video just barely scratches the surface. Animal drawing is my greatest passion, and I am eager to share more. Coming soon, the Force Animal Basics course will be available on our website. With this course, you will learn the exciting principles to begin your animal drawing journey. We got a lot of great free content on our channel, so hit subscribe, the like button, and let us know in the comments what kind of animal you struggle with or what you struggle with in general. But we also have mentorships and classes at drawingforce.com that can get you going with force drawing even faster. It's the global industry standard, so check it out.